Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Data. I'm having a mute failure there. I didn't notice it. I was off mute and then turning it back on, so that's not good. We're carrying on from this week. So we're doing relational database innovations from reInvent, and this will be part two. So we're going to be doing a mixture of Zero-ETL, database upgrades, database savings plans. So some of the kind of more exciting innovations, what's been introduced in back end of reInvent. So I'm Tony Mullen, one of your regular show hosts. I will let Ibrahim introduce himself.
Thanks, Tony. Ibrahim here. I'm also one of the regular hosts of the show. And yeah, we have, as Tony mentioned, we have lovely topics to cover today. And I think we should start with the first one, which is the database upgrade.
Yeah, and I guess first one for me as well is we have, before we start with that, we have Lydia as our chat moderator. So do pop those questions in the chat. We will get them up on the screen as we go. And we've also got some nice links to share with you throughout the show. We can see we've got build with Jitesh. Hello, good to see you. Like I say, Lydia's going to be here. So our chat moderator today, based in the UK and cold. I will totally agree with that. And it's rainy as well in Manchester.
Oh, it's getting better this week.
It's better than last week. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that we're second week into January already. We've got a week's already gone. Like, woof. So back into a second week already. So yeah, do let us know where you're from as well, especially if you're from somewhere nice and sunny, and that kind of always makes us feel a little bit jealous of where you are. But we've got some, like I say, we've got some nice, interesting database topics. So, I mean, like you say, Ibrahim, let's talk about, because we've not got plenty of time, have we? It always goes really quick as well. So, I mean, first one, database upgrades. Database upgrades are always an interesting one. Me and you are database guys, so it's a topic right close to our hearts. And when you move to a managed database like RDS, database upgrades generally just becomes a whole lot easier for you. That's how I found it. Do you agree with that?
Of course.
Yeah. Compared to the days where you had to
Exactly. I always compare to those old days when it used to take like weeks to prepare for the upgrade, doing the pre-upgrade checks, doing the tests, doing the actual upgrades, and all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, compared
taking so much time.
Yeah, of
so much time. But one area what has been a kind of a stumbling point a little bit is when it comes to automatic upgrades. So if you've ever used the capability to do automatic minor release upgrades in RDS, there's never been a capability to be able to stagger those upgrades, and customers have asked for that capability, and that's what we're here to talk about today. For the first section is going to be, what is that and what does it look like, and how do you enable it as well. Some of the customers that I've seen what really have been asking for this are like RDS Oracle customers, particularly ones who use JVM, because JVM is mandatory to use automatic upgrades. So, and how do you get to a position where you're going, okay, my dev's gone now, I want to go UAT, and then I want to go prod, because there was no mechanism for that. So that's what we're going to show you. So shall I get my demo up? Let's get my, there we go. And I'll show you as well. So I'll share this first. This is the announcement, and we'll share this link out as well, so you can take a look at that. I'll show you, I've got RDS here, and I've got some Postgres databases in my account. It's the same concept for each of these different database engines, and we'll see that in the console, and we'll see what it looks like in the console as well. So if I just go over to my account, and what we can see here, we've got a multitude of databases here. This is just my test account with, what have we got there? We've got 7 databases in there. We've got a Aurora database as well. This is the new capability. This is what you see. You see this upgrade rollout order. And as default, it sets as second, which means it's just they're all going to be deployed at the same time. from an upgrade perspective. So if you add all of these and there was a minor release upgrade, those upgrades would go in at the same time.
So just
yeah, sure.
clarify, sorry, sorry for interruption. So before that, if you have, as you were saying, if you have multiple databases spanning across multiple accounts, you'd have no control over which instances will be
Exactly. Yeah,
upgraded
same
first.
account, multiple accounts. It's exactly the same, and this is what the upgrade rollout capability gives you. It's part of AWS organization. So it's, in my case here, I'm going to show it over one account, but you can do it over your organization and do it over multiple accounts from a capability perspective. So it gives you that capability. Of most customers, you'll see like a dev account, a non-prod account, and a prod account.
Yeah, and they are all part of one organization, as you were saying. And
exactly. Yeah. And that's where, and even if they're not, if you've just got, they are separate organizations, the policy is you build it at an organization policy level, you enable the policy there, but we'll see it in a minute. When you do it in the account, you can create a policy inside of that. So I'll show you what that looks like now. Just quickly, we navigate over to, so we're in AWS organizations here. So we can see from my account, we've got just one account in there. And if we go into policies in the organization, there's this new policy here now called upgrade rollout policies. So what you can do is you could go into here and you will enable this policy for your organization. And then within here, you can then create a policy. So if we just create a policy, I'll show you quickly. Got one pre-baked there, but I'll show you the concept of it. You create a test policy, give it whatever name you would want to call it. Maybe you'd have separate policies, like one what just does every resource is going to be first or second. And the concept of the rollout policy is first, second, and last. And by the naming, the naming states, first is going to come first for the patching, then second, then last. But what you can do is you can override it and do tags for your resources. So I will show you, instead of me having to create them all out here, I'll show you the tags, what it looks like in the one I pre-baked. So if we just cancel out of this and then have a look at my testing one and edit that policy, what you can see is we have override specific resources, and then there's a key called upgrade order. And when you tag in your instances, you would give them a dev, a test, or a prod. And then anything else, it will just take the second upgrade. So for instance, if it's not got a tag on it, you could maybe do them last, or whatever you wanted to do, whether you just, gives you that flexibility when it comes to a tagging perspective. So if I just quickly just go out of that and go back to my policies. So we can see that our policy is now enabled, and I will just attach that policy to my account. And this is where you'd be able to attach it to multiple accounts or one account, depending on what policy you wanted to do. The tagging really gives you the flexibility to, if you didn't want to tag, you could just go, do you know what? My dev account, I want them all to be first, and that's it. That's what they get in that account. Or you can have the tagging in there if you've got a multitude of different databases. And then what we do is we attach that policy that should be attached now. So a quick look, and it should take effect pretty quick. We should be able to go back to the account, and we should be able to see if I go to RDS databases. And this is a live demo as well. As usual, it's not done it straight away, but it should be there pretty quick. There you go. You can see it's done it now. So it is quite nice that actually, because you can see them all being second, and everything was created second. So I'll show you very quickly. We'll just create a database super quick, just to show you that it will adopt that tag really quickly. So let's just create a scrolling capabilities. I won't do an 80, let's do 70. And then I'll do dev test and single instance database test. I'll leave all the defaults. and create that database. And what you see as soon as that gets created, it will be put into the last one. So, because that was the default in the policy. So, and then you can see from our capabilities here, everything's first, second, and last. And this goes off the tagging capabilities we put in. So if we go into here and have a look at our tags, you can see that it's set to dev. And if we were to change this, you'll see it actually changes.
I was going to ask that if you update it or change it.
It's really quick. Yeah, really quick. So, let's go back and we have a look at that one. So go back to that database and we can see that it's set to first, and we go, do you know what, we've wrongly tagged that. Let's put it to like it should be prod. This one's tagged to, so this one's tagged to prod. So let's just say if we took that database and went, you know what, I'm gonna change my tag, and we managed the tag and we put it to last, like that. No, it's not last. Do you know what? Let's put it to last. To see
okay, then it would be last.
If you put a wrong entry in, if you did that, I suspect it should change to last because it will take the default policy. As you can see, it's changed to last.
Yeah.
So if we went and changed that to, I believe dev is the right tag. You can see here test. Yeah. So if we go and change that tag to the correct policy, I'm in the wrong database. And then we change that tag and we change that to test. There we go, like that. And then we go back to databases. Well, you see it's changed to second, and it's really quite quick how it does it. And then the idea is then you are managing the rollout of your databases in a more managed capability. And this is quite new to me as well. This is the first time I've had to play with this. When it comes to Oracle databases, there's some information what's worth knowing, things around. If it's an Oracle database, it's only acceptable from January 2026 is the upgrade rollout for it. So I will show you the link we have for it when it comes to. Oh no, I haven't got the link for the announcement. So I've only got the link for the announcement. There is a link on just the actual page for it. I'll find it in a bit when you're doing your demo later, Ibram, and we can see the limitations when it comes to.
I think Lydia already shared it. That link.
Yeah, I think one was the announcements link, and then there's a link for actual. Let's do it. Here we go. So database. Wow. You can find it. Yeah. Is that the announcement or the blog? No, that's the announcement. So and
it's not.
Yeah, I can't find it. I'll find it. We have a page on it which is, I think, it's useful again to I'll get it shared, that you can actually see all the information behind this new capability and some of the limitations behind it as well. So like I say, I know that when I'm calling it out because I know that from an RDS perspective, but it would mean that if you've got older versions of the database, you wouldn't be good to go. But if, for instance, if your databases were all up to date, it would then start being able to use that capability. So the other thing as well is when it comes to, let me just get to my right tab, it's really easy then just to disable this capability as well. So just go, there we go. Oh, that's my old screen. Let's just refresh that. Then we should see it just so it doesn't look like it's just really strange.
Right one.
So if we go to organizations again, I've got fat finger syndrome because I'm doing it live. Organizations, and if we go into the policies, what you can do is you have to go into this first, and then you need to disable the upgrade rollout policy. So it won't just let you detach it. You have to disable it in here. And then when you go back to your policies, you'll see that it's disabled. And then when we go back to our RDS databases now, what we should see is they're all back to default. As I say, it's live, so let's see. I think it's usually in the realms of a couple of seconds to go to do it. So quick look in this page. Yeah, and sometimes let's just double check it's definitely disabled.
And then once it's disabled, then so you are back to the default, which is
you're back to default behavior.
It's based on when your RDS, when your RDS will be receiving the update. It's not, you don't have control over that.
No control over it. You're back to default behavior, which is seconds. And in this account, you would just be like we say, default behavior. You're grabbing the updates as they come. So, and it doesn't. You can keep your tags back on as you were. So I think it's worth for people to try it from a testing perspective. Give it a go, and as always, keep feedback as well. And if people are interested in it and they do want more information, just reach out to your account team, and then you'll get the likes of people like myself who'll be able to help you out.
And I would expect also, Tony, that it will actually wait for the actual upgrade of the instance before upgrading it. So it's not just staging the patch to that instance, because
it's patching it, and then it's waiting for them patches to be finished in the account with the upgrade rollout order, and then it will then move to patch those other databases.
Exactly, because you know that some customers before this feature, they would have some limited control via moving the maintenance window of the RDS instance itself, so that they can delay
or manually doing it yourself as well. Is another way. Typically, if you look at the ways people do it, is disable automatic updates and do it themselves. Do the upgrades because you've got a bit more control. Or like what you say, another good way of it is moving the maintenance window or deferring the patching. That's ways you can do it. It should hopefully give people a little bit more control now to be able to manage those.
Especially if you're managing like hundreds of RDS instances.
I think that's where it'll come into it. So when you've got a number of databases, what you're managing across a number of different accounts is where you'd like to see it in action. And it's I don't have hundreds of databases in my account. I only have a few different databases, so it'd be really interesting to see it when customers do use it, of how it's adopted by a customer and how this capability moves forward. So it looks really positive on the outset for me. From a
same,
being able to manage your databases, it looks a really nice innovation. So
because I even remember one of the team members reached out and was asking about something similar, like that was like maybe last year or the year before, because the customers were asking for something like that, having control over, because most of the times you want to test the upgrade first in your dev and test accounts and then move to the production. Sometimes you want the dev and test accounts to be upgraded at the same time, because you want to have similar environment to what the dev team is working on. So it doesn't make any sense to have an older instance for the testing while the dev team is working on a higher patch than the test environment.
And it's something we always say to people, like, me being a database guy, is always test first. Test. Even the likes of the PSUs, the security updates, theoretically you should be okay. It shouldn't change application a bit,
of course.
But you should still test it.
Of course.
Go through your dev, your test, and not straight to prod.
So. Especially, to be honest, in the cloud, it's much easier to test everything.
So much easier.
I remember on premise when we were telling our management that we need to test this upgrade first. So in order to test it, you mean that they need to allocate resources, new hardware, or if the hardware is existing, so some spare hardware to be allocated for that
Yeah,
database to
just
be
to spin stuff
created.
up. Yeah.
Exactly, and then go through the whole cycle of creating a database and patching it and everything. So it was
And that's
like,
why people don't tend to not patch, don't they? We've got a few people saying hello here as well. We'll just link some of these out.
yeah,
Hello, Data Whisperer. Good to see you back.
hello.
And UK based. Yeah. Not too sunny, but no snow. Yeah, well, that's what we like.
Yeah,
So, and Andreas,
yeah.
hi. Hello. Is that little pussycat there? Yeah. I've got my dog down here. I was just saying before, she's being
Yeah,
really good actually. So she was being a bit needy a little bit, but she seems to have relaxed now, which is good.
lovely.
It's really warm in this room, to be fair.
She's enjoying the show.
Yeah, I think she is. I think that or I've sent her to sleep. So, I think it's because we're having a good time. I think she's like, yeah, I'm enjoying myself. This
Yeah,
is nice. So,
that's
that's
lovely.
good. Cool. So we
Yep.
talk a little bit about Zero-ETL next then?
Yeah,
Have a
sure.
little
Let's
look at
do
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so as you know, for many customers who have already migrated their databases to the cloud, and they are looking for and unlocking the capabilities of the data and getting more insights from the data. And in order to do that, many customers will build uh, like a centralized data lake or something like that, or uh, in this case, we are talking about Redshift cluster to host all or to store all your data house data in one location, and then start from there. You can start querying them, getting more um, value from your data, integrated with all the AI machine learning capabilities that the AWS cloud is offering. The thing is that for customers, in order to do this, similar to the on-prem, you remember those ETL processes that we
Yeah.
used to have, and then extracting the data, transforming them, and then loading them into we used to have like a dedicated team just for that. So Zero-ETL is making all these stuff much more simpler. So all the Zero-ETL integration will extract all the transactional data, all the changes that are happening on your database almost in near real time. Will capture them and then will replicate them to a data warehouse. To a Redshift cluster, and then we'll store them there. And from there, you can start, as we mentioned, leveraging all the capabilities of either the Redshift cluster itself or the other analytical services that AWS will provide you with. So we announced a couple of months ago, we announced the Zero integration with RDS instances, the fully managed option for the relational databases.
And we did a show on that last year as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lydia's put our past shows as well. Yeah. So if you take a look at that link, last year we definitely did a show on Zero-ETL.
Yes,
We
I
did one on
remember.
Redshift as well. So there's some of
Exactly.
the
Even
capabilities.
for Aurora, yeah, even
Right.
for Aurora, you remember around that time
Yeah.
when we first announced that we had a show around the Zero-ETL integration.
Yeah.
But the new thing or the new announcement that we are discussing right now is making this available also for self-managed databases. So databases running on-premise, databases running on EC2, databases running maybe on VM machines, any of those databases, self-managed databases, you can apply this similar concept. So making it so much easy to extract the data from those databases and then move them or copy them to data warehouse or data lake using the Zero-ETL integration. So that's the new announcement that I think that has been announced a couple of weeks ago, or just before the reInvent, something like that. And then it has been extended to more regions as well, just 2 weeks ago. So maybe I can let me share my screen to show you how easy it is to just to do this integration. So the integration or the zero-ETL integration leverages the DMS, the database migration service that we have. This service enables you to migrate data from one database to another. So we're using the same backend technology to move the data between your self-managed database and the Redshift cluster. So that's why the first step in order to start with the Zero-ETL integration is to create the source endpoint. And the endpoint is just like it's the connection string to the database, to the source database. So let's see how you can create an endpoint. So for example, here I'm creating a source endpoint and the giving an identifier and name to that endpoint. So let's say that it's a source Oracle prod endpoint, something like that. And then you choose the engine that you are going to connect to or extracting the data from. So if I choose Oracle, for example, here, then I can either have my secret or credentials stored in Secrets Manager, and then from there, the endpoint will pull those credentials and connect to the database, or I can provide the access information manually. So here I'm providing the server name. It's either the IP address or the DNS name of the server. That server, as we were saying, it could be one of your databases that running on premise. It could be a database running on an EC2 instance. So you provide the server name, or the IP address of the server. Let's say that it's 10.124, something like that, and then the port of the database or the listener of the database. Let's assume that it's a default one, and then you provide the username and the password, a username that has access to the data, that can read the data from the tables of the source database and load them into the Redshift database. So the password of that database, and then you can also connect securely to that source database. So all the traffic will be encrypted using SSL if you want to do that. So you can add a certificate and then you can start communicating securely to the database. So here I'm not using any certificates to connect or to encrypt the data, and then the service name or the SID of the database. Let's say that, for example, it's VIS, something like that, and then any endpoint settings uh, to control how the extraction will happen. You don't need to provide all of this information, just if you want to have more or for specific reasons you want to specify an endpoint setting, then you are going to do it here. Then once you have done that, you create the endpoint. Once you have created the endpoint, then from the Glue console page, you will create the Zero-ETL integration. Of course, before doing that, you already have the Redshift cluster. So either you created it or you're already using a Redshift cluster and you want to integrate that source database with this cluster, then you can do that. So for the Zero-ETL integration, from here you select the Zero-ETL integration, and then you create Zero-ETL integration. So those are the different data sources for the Zero-ETL integration. As you can see, it ranges from databases and some other data sources as well, like sales, force, it's in there, and all of these services can integrate with Redshift as well. So based on the engine itself, as I can see here, they can use it either for Oracle, Postgres, MySQL as well. All of these self-managed databases can be used as a source. And then after that, once you have done this, let's say that I'm going to select Oracle as a source database. here you will be able to select the endpoint that connects to that source database. So I'm
I've got
going
a
to
quick question here, even we'll take as well. So is there any use cases that it doesn't make sense to apply zero ETL? Better to do traditional ETL pipeline thing?
Yeah, I would say if you would like to have more control over the transform part of the data. So the extraction is fine. You can extract using either the traditional way or using the Zero-ETL integration. And that the Zero-ETL integration will be more than sufficient for that. But if you want to transform the data in a different way or in a better way or in a more customized way than what the Zero-ETL integration is offering, so in this case, yeah, maybe the traditional ETL pipeline would be more beneficial in a case like that or more suitable.
And
But
potentially
in
skills as well. If you've got skills to do that,
yeah, of course,
it's less of an issue, isn't it? As
yeah,
opposed to if you don't have those skills in your organization, zero ETL
yeah,
integration is a really nice, easy way to get you going.
exactly. But again, back to the same point that we were talking about is managing database at scale. If you have several hundreds of databases and you can easily just integrate them using these few steps, and then you're done. All the data will be extracted and then loaded into one cluster where you can start doing the data, all the extracting all the data insights from that cluster.
It's bringing the data together as well, isn't it? Not just
Exactly.
like, you may have Oracle databases, Postgres databases, Salesforce, like you've seen there. You might be bringing
Yeah,
sentiment data from your socials into S3 buckets, and you can query it
exactly.
all in one place. It's
So just exactly. So just imagine building a traditional pipeline for each one of those, and each one of those, of course, they have their own settings and configurations to extract the data. So it's they're doing it this way. It's more convenient, especially in maintaining it, because it's a fully managed. So the maintenance of the connectivity and maintenance of extracting the data, it's fully managed. So that's the benefit, in my opinion, compared to the
good
traditional.
question, huh? Data Whisperer, thank
Yeah.
you.
So here you're going to select the endpoint that will take you or will connect you to the source database. That's the one that we have created earlier. And then once you have chosen that endpoint, then it will also, here you are. Yeah, here this is the filter type. Which tables that you're going to include in your extraction of data and loading them into the data warehouse database. So the expression that you're going to use is in this format: the database dot schema dot table. So let's assume that the database name is ERP, for example, and then the schema name is employees, something like that. And then the table name, maybe I just, okay, all the tables within that schema. Or I want all the schemas and all the tables within this database. So based on that, you can extract the list of tables that you want to, and you can also add a conspirated list using these patterns. So you can, you can have like a different schemas, and from each schema you can have different tables as well,
Yeah,
and consolidate them into one Redshift cluster.
makes sense.
And then the network part. So this is where this Zero-ETL integration would run, because at the end of the day, it will require access to network, and then from this network, it will access your database, your self-managed database. So if your self-managed database, for example, is running on premise, so we need to make sure that your database is accessible from the AWS cloud. So either through a VPN a site-to-site VPN connectivity or direct connectivity, something like that. Or if it's within your AWS cloud running on an EC2 instance, so and you are going to connect to it from a different VPC, so there should be a VPC peering between those VPCs. So those are the considerations while you are selecting which network this Zero-ETL integration would run in. So here I know that my EC2 instance is running in that VPC. That's why, okay, I want my Zero-ETL integration to run within the same VPC. So there is no need for the VPC peering and all of that. And then the subnets that the Zero-ETL integration will use to connect as well and will use to run. And then the security group, because, managing or governing the traffic between the different resources within AWS cloud is mainly being done through the security groups. So if my database is running on an EC2 instance, so there is a security group that will control which traffic is allowed to go to that EC2 instance. So here you need to select a security group that will allow the traffic from the Zero-ETL integration to your database and also to your Redshift cluster as well. So I'm going to select one of the security groups that I know that it will allow me to do so. And then from here, you will going to select the the target details. So I'm going to select your target. So here I'm already pre-created the Redshift cluster, 3 of them. Based on the configuration, network configuration, you will select which Redshift cluster you're going to load the data into. And also, as we mentioned, the security group that you have used or you have selected should allow you to access that Redshift cluster as well.
Just on that point regarding targets, we got a question from the Dumpler. Does the destinations it supported only as Redshift? So is only Redshift supported as a destination for this?
Yeah, as of now, Redshift, yes, this is as of now. But from Redshift, you can do whatever and other integrations as well. But as of now, it's Redshift.
Yeah. Cool.
So here you are selecting the Redshift data warehouse cluster to receive or as a target. This is the one that will be data will be loaded into. And as you can see, it detected that there is a missing parameter within that Redshift cluster in order to allow the integration between the Zero-ETL integration. So you can easily select that, fix it for me, and it will add this parameter or will edit the resource policy of that Redshift cluster to allow the integration with Zero-ETL. So you don't have, and there is also another database parameter, but because that Redshift cluster, the effects already applied to it, there is the database parameter to honor the case sensitivity of the data. So that one is needed as well for the Zero-ETL integration, but it will also be automatically fixed for you if you choose to. Okay. So once you have done that, this is the effects that will be applied. It will edit the resource policy of the Redshift cluster to allow the integration between the source database or the source endpoint and the Redshift cluster itself. And then here, just give a name to the Zero-ETL integration. So Zero-ETL demo, for example, something like that. And then once you're happy with the configurations and the settings, you create and launch the integration. So once the integration starts or they start to create, you'll notice that, of course, first it will, if you go to the Redshift cluster page, you will see that it will start modifying the Redshift cluster and it will apply the policy that we talked about. As you can see down there, it applied the authorized integration sources and added that endpoint of the source database to this list of authorized sources. And also, if you go to the DMS page or the console page of DMS, you will see that it has created a read-only endpoint, target endpoint, that will connect you to the Redshift cluster. So this is a read-only one. You don't have control over it. You cannot change it. You cannot do any actions on it. And it's part of the Zero-ETL integration. Similar to this, a new task will be created for you. And this is a read-only task as well. It's a DMS task. And it uses serverless DMS replication instances to do this, to do the replication. So here the DMS task will start preparing metadata, and then once it fits the metadata from the source database, it will start creating the objects on the target database and loading the data. And as you can see, its type is full load and C2C. So it will extract the already existing data from the source database, and also it will capture all the ongoing changes and then load them into the target database. So this is just a brief overview about the service or the feature, the integration. Once it's completed, you'll see that the tables are created on the target Redshift cluster, and then there are also some views that you can check on the Redshift cluster, where you can check the progress and the stats of the integration itself. Also from the Redshift cluster home console page, you can see the integration down right here. You can see information about it, and you can check the stats of the integration. So yeah, that was it.
I assume you got all monitoring with that as well, haven't you?
Yeah, and you have the internal views as well to monitor them. So you can directly from within the Redshift cluster, you can monitor that.
So nice and easy way to get you going. So
exactly.
Like I say, if you do want a little bit more about Redshift, you could circle back and take a look at the shows we've done on Redshift. I see Lydia's answered some of the questions as well. Cheers for that, Lydia. Zero-ETL to open source as a destination, and DynamoDB and document, and also some capabilities copying data out of RDS and Aurora using the OpenSearch ingesting service. But obviously what Ibram's been showing today is the self-managed Zero-ETL.
This is for the relational, the relational databases. Yeah. What he is mentioning about the other sources like the DynamoDB or DocumentDB. So yeah, but for the relational.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting space. It's got, I've done lots of ETL in the past, and getting data to different locations. Anyone who's done it and done it quite a bit with lots of data, it can be, it's hard work to do.
Yeah. And usually you're doing that using an agent running on the database server, and that agent itself is impacting the performance of the overall server. So I remember one of the main databases that I used to have on premise was an Oracle database, and the agent was running there. It was consuming like 30% of the CPU on that server. So so unfortunately, but having something like that, it's agentless. It just connects from the AWS itself, from AWS cloud to the database, extract, load, and that's it.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Cool. That's nice. Thanks for sharing that. Let's move on to database savings plans then. So let me just quickly share my screen. Need to share my other screen for this. So here we go. Database savings plans. So here we go. So yes, database savings plans. So I mean, this is one what's been, I think customers have wanted this for a good while now. Certainly, I know when I was a customer of AWS, it was something what was really useful. If you've used reserved instances in the past, it can be difficult switching between. the database family types, and also just things like Aurora serverless, for example. There's no concept of a reserved instance or savings for that, which you can now get savings for it. So really nice to see it. But how do you actually use it, and how do you get about taking a look at your databases and managing those databases? So I think this page is really nice from a starting point. The way that it has the different databases and the different options you've got here, and you can see exactly what that saving is. So if we look at this one, DBMI 2x large, you can see that you're going to see 20% savings on the on-demand rate. That's what it is for those RDS engines. If you go to like Aurora Serverless V2, you'll see that you're going to get the 35% savings, which is, as a really nice saving. What you'll see, and that's on used. You'd have to track of what you're using, and we'll have a look at that as well in the console in a moment. I'll just share that, and you can see there's a couple of tools you can use to take a look at that. There's also I'm going to share this as well. There is a database savings plans for AWS databases, which goes into all of the information we're going to talk about here today. And this is useful as well to see the different options, and we'll take a look at this. I haven't got lots of data in my account because I only have the databases I've got in there I've shown you today, but we should still be able to see savings on it. We should still be able to do the same concept here, and you can see the savings, what you would achieve over on demand. And it's also one of my favorite things is using the cost calculator. If you've ever used the pricing calculator, if you're ever pricing up your databases and just trying to understand all the different options you've got, I think it's good to understand the options you've got between a savings plan and a reserved instance. So, for instance, you can see the savings you can get. So this one is it's a M7i 4x large, and if I was using that and I was like, I'm going to be on that for the next year, I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to change families. I'm more than happy with a reserved instance. You can see that is probably the better option for you to try and understand that savings plan is going to give you a saving on top of on demand, but there is still that place for reserved instances, certainly when it comes to RDS instances. And if you go for a free year, some of the savings you'll get on top of that, again, you do need to be kind of mindful of that. And one thing I'd say is your account team are great at helping you for this as well. If you are ever in a situation where you don't sometimes understand what is the best option, reach out to your account team and ask for a cost optimization session. And this is where you'll go over some of these things. And also you'd look at a key one for me as well, managing databases, is, are you on the right instances? Are you over provisioned? Is another area you want to be looking at. Make sure you it's certainly if you're buying a savings plan, are you using all the capacity in it? And you'll be able to see that in the reports you've got as well. So
so I think as you were saying, Tony, so the first step is, okay, usually and usually this is the how our customers are starting. They start their journey with on-demand capacity, and then after like a couple of months or so, when everything is stabilized and they are aware of the workloads and peaks of their workloads, then they can either go for the saving plans or the reserved instances. But first, make sure that you are on the right sized instance first.
That's the key one for me. Whenever you're doing any form of cost optimization, you can see the differences here with what we've got on the screen. There is savings to be had, even with, like I say, savings plans gives you a bit more of a safety net with your savings plans, because you can switch your families and you've got a bit more flexibility. But if you're going to be rigid and stay on the one instance type, reserved instance is probably a nice option for you as well. But it's a really great addition, savings plans, and certainly when you start looking at serverless and what you're using from a Aurora serverless, for example, there's savings you can have there now, which is great. So any way you can save money, I like saving money. It's great. So
Who doesn't?
yeah, I think everyone does, don't they? Everyone secretly enjoys saving money. But I'm going to also share. Let me just share my my screen again, and we'll go back to where we have our databases. I'll show you the screens where you'll be able to go into to take a look at your Cost Explorer. So I don't know if people have used Cost Explorer before. Again, another really cool tool to be able to find your information. But within here, there should be a capability to see your savings plans now. You can just go it through another page, but your Cost Explorer will give you your cost of what you're spending. So if we go to our savings plans and have a look at the overall saving plan, we won't see anything because there is no saving plans in this account. And these are the different types of saving plans. So we're going to look at the database saving plans. And what we're going to look at is the purchase analyzer, because I have not had this account for a long period of time. Recommendations won't come up. You'll probably see something different in your own account. People who are probably familiar with managing their account with reserved instances and managing their spend, you'll get used to kind of seeing these windows. If you go to database savings plans, and this is, I really like this. This is really nice being able to just go, do you know what? I'm just going to look for, let's just do the past 3 days here, because this I built this account and it's got databases from there. And what we can do is we can just look at, I want a 1-year database savings plan, and just based on what I have in my account and the usage of what I've done in my account, it should look at it should look at and say, this is what you should purchase from a savings plan perspective, and this is the hourly commitment you should be spending, and this is the savings you'll see. So we should see this now. So it takes a few minutes to go. Or not even a minute, actually, in the seconds, really. And what you'll see is it'll give you a breakdown of the cost, the coverage, and the usage. I mean, usage in this sense, you'd be using at 100%. And you can see we don't have a current savings plan. If you did, it would bake that into there. And then you would be doing the savings plan recommendation. And you could see the savings you'd be getting a month. This is very tiny. We've got very little in this database account. And you see between 15% savings on top of that. So that's kind of really a kind of into savings plans and what I've got to share on it today. Like I say, I think for me, you should be looking at it. If you're not looking at it, if you're managing databases and you're not familiar with reserved instances, saving plans, cost optimization, probably should be. It's really, I mean, it's an important area where you can save a lot of money for your organization.
Yeah, especially if it's like small account with few resources and you are responsible for everything. So because usually for enterprise big accounts, you'll have dedicated persons for maybe for the budgeting, for the cost optimization. But if it's a one-man show, you are running everything. So I think that one could save you a lot. And it's not only for the databases; it's also for the other resources as well, for the
Yes, yeah,
computer.
it is, yeah.
So,
It's expanded out, hasn't it? Because savings plans
yeah,
has been for EC2 for a while now. So
exactly.
it's I quite like cost optimization. I really do. I think it's great being there to save money. So if you're not, we've always, we say at Amazon, don't we? If you're not using it, it's like the turning the tap on. If
Yeah.
you're using the water, you pay for it. The water you're using, that's the same with the resources. But you wouldn't leave your tap on at home. So if you're not constantly using resources, turn resources off, look for different instance classes. The cost optimization is a whole area now. I believe we did a show on that a while back as well. I think it's probably a good time for us to do another show at some point on cost
Yeah, I believe
optimization.
so. Yeah, with all
We
the new
actually know
tools
some
now.
really nice tools out there of what you can
Yeah,
do from a cost optimization perspective. So
yeah, especially the anyone that one for the that you just shown us there one with the for the what's it called, the Cost Explorer one.
Yeah.
with the new saving plans.
And how to navigate around
Which
using
is
tags.
amazing.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah,
to really get the
make
insight.
things easier, a lot easier, to be honest. So yeah, we need to cover that.
Yeah. Cool. So I think let's have a look if there are any questions, people, because we're coming towards the end of the hour now. So Lydia's shared a couple more docs. We've got Diamond Destructi. It's nice. Option that was off one of the demos. Hello as well. And yeah, cool. Yeah, good stuff. And Lydia shared a couple of the links as well. And as we said, let me just find it up at above as well. Do visit our Let's Talk About Data show page as well. Let me find it. There we go. In here, you'll get all of our past shows. We've updated it now. The format looks quite nice. We've moved to a different platform for it, for the community pages. Our show notes go on there as well, which will have links to all our past shows. So this one will be up there either tonight or tomorrow morning. You'll be able to get access to all the links we've done. Also be able to visit us on Catch-Up as well. So do swing by there. And we'll be back here again next week. So the same time. So it's going to be, so what would be is that the 19th of January will be, yeah. And we'll be here at 5 p.m. CET, 8 a.m. Pacific time, and 11 a.m. Eastern time. And we stream to Twitch TV, AWS. Hit us a subscribe if you're on there as well. And it's the same with YouTube, AWS events. Again, hit us a subscribe. It's not just our show what streams to these platforms. So, you know, there is lots of great content on there that you'll be notified. And if you do ever want to link out to us as well, there is our email address as well, which will pop into the chat. It is on our community page as well. Do drop us an email. It's always great to hear from you. Just let us know if there's anything you want to see, or if you ever want to follow up on anything as well. So, and Ibrahim, great show again. Always good.
Thanks, Tony.
Always good to do a show with you, mate. And thank you, Lydia, for being a great chat support, and also just putting lots of really cool stuff in there, looking after us because you are an analytics person. And thanks, audience, for your questions as well. And we'll see you again next week.
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone. See you
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.